She was only 12, too young to understand the full weight of the word cancer, yet old enough to feel the heavy silence that fell every time doctors entered her room. Her body was fragile, wrapped in a hospital gown that slipped from her bony shoulders. Tubes and machines hummed, keeping her tied to a fight she hadn't chosen. But despite all of that, despite the endless needles, the exhaustion, the fear, her smile refused to fade. It was on a quiet Tuesday afternoon when everything changed. The nurses had wheeled her outside, into the hospital courtyard, to feel the sun on her skin for just a few minutes. She raised her thin arm and waved, not to anyone specific, just to the world. It was an innocent gesture, a child's way of saying, "I'm still here." And that's when it happened. A man, tall, confident, dressed sharply, was stepping out of a black luxury car. His phone glued to his ear, his words sharp and quick, like a man used to giving orders. He was a billionaire, a man whose time was worth more than gold. Yet when he saw that wave, just that small, trembling wave, he froze. His voice faltered mid-sentence. He pulled his sunglasses down, staring at her. The girl kept smiling, her hand still lifted. For a moment, the noise of the city seemed to vanish. He ended the call, slid the phone into his pocket, and just stood there, unable to move. Because for the first time in years, he felt something stir inside him, something money had never given him. Before I continue, let me pause for 1 second. If you're watching this, hit that subscribe button. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't just a story, it's proof that even the smallest gesture can ripple through 2 lives in ways you'd never expect. That night, the billionaire sat alone in his penthouse, surrounded by glass walls that overlooked the city. Normally, he loved the view. But tonight, all he saw was her face. Her eyes, tired yet glowing with courage. Her fragile smile still carrying more strength than the boardrooms he ruled over. He tossed aside the reports, shut off the endless calls, and stared at the ceiling. For the first time in years, he asked himself, what am I really doing with all this wealth? By dawn, he had made up his mind. He called his assistant, his staff, his pilots. The orders were unusual. No press, no cameras, not a word to the media. This isn't about me. It's about her. His team didn't understand, but they obeyed. The next afternoon, the girl's hospital room transformed into something out of a fairy tale. Fairy lights draped across the ceiling, fresh flowers lining the windowsill, soft music filling the air. A violinist stood quietly in the corner, playing a melody so gentle it seemed to chase away the sterile coldness of the ward. Nurses who had grown used to watching her battle silently now wiped tears from their eyes. And then the door opened. The billionaire stepped in, not in his power suit, not with an entourage, but in jeans and a plain shirt. In his hands was a small wrapped box. He walked slowly toward her, his voice warm. "I believe this belongs to you." Her mother covered her mouth, eyes wide with disbelief. The girl's fingers shook as she tore the wrapping. Inside was an envelope. She opened it and read the words aloud. "Dreams don't belong only to the healthy or the rich. They belong to the brave. And you, young lady, are the bravest person I've ever met." Behind the note was a plain ticket. Her jaw dropped. Because months ago, when her mother had asked what her one wish would be if she could have anything, she had whispered, "I just want to see the ocean. Just once. I want to know what it feels like to let the waves touch my feet." She had never left her small town, never flown on a plane. And now, her dream was suddenly within reach. Within hours, she and her mother were seated on a private jet. The billionaire sat nearby, silent, watching her press her face to the window as the ground shrank below. For her, it was magic. For him, it was the first time he felt peace in years. When they landed, the car barely stopped before she leapt out and ran barefoot across the sand. She squealed as the cold water touched her toes, spreading her arms wide like she was ready to embrace the whole sky. Her laughter, pure, unfiltered, filled with life, echoed against the crashing waves. The billionaire stood back, hands in his pockets, watching as tears blurred his vision. That sound, her laughter, was richer than any empire he had built. But here's where the story twists. A few days later, word spread. Journalists swarmed the hospital, chasing the billionaire for a quote, a headline, a photograph. He refused them all. Instead, he left behind a simple folded note at the front desk. On it, in his own handwriting, were just 11 words. Sometimes the smallest wave can change the course of a life. The girl's illness didn't disappear. The fight wasn't over, but something in her changed. Doctors noticed her newfound determination, the way she smiled through her pain, the way she comforted other children in the ward. That one moment, the wave, the ocean, the laughter, gave her a strength no medicine could. And as for the billionaire, he confided in a close friend that she had saved him too. Saved him from a life where money was everything and meaning was nothing. He realized true power wasn't in skyscrapers or bank accounts. It was in choosing to pause, to care, to see the world through the eyes of a child who waved at him without expecting a thing. So here's the lesson. Never underestimate the smallest gesture. A smile, a wave, a kind word, it may feel insignificant to you, but it could mean the world to someone else. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel. And remember, not all miracles arrive with lightning or thunder. Sometimes they begin with nothing more than a wave.